Hi, I'm Kate Camerata, and I develop new plays and musicals in my theater company in New York City. 8 years ago, I founded a company, Create Theater, just in order to be able to develop new work. But now, thanks to the generosity of streaming musicals and Mill Iron Studios, I'm able to present to you the Monday Night Development Series. Now, this is a web series devoted to the development of new work, which means that every single Monday night, you'll be able to see a new play or musical that's in development here in New York City or anywhere in the world. This is really exciting, and it's truly the 21st century way to keep theater vital and alive. Now, many of these shows have never been on stage before, so I would love to hear your feedback. But for right now, sit back, enjoy the show. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe below. You won't want to miss a single Monday night with us.
Queen of Sad Mischance by John Minigan, Act 1. Beverly's disorganized home office. Most surfaces are covered with books, notebooks, and folders filled with loose paper. Hanging in front of a bookcase is a print of the 1455 Talbot master portrait of Margaret of Anjou receiving the Book of Romances.
So this is not just reframing the story.
Nobody in academia is telling the Margaret story. Now, what do you know about Margaret?
I know the tragedies better than the
They
histories.
tell you the Ophelia story. Even in a women's college, they tell you she's out of her mind, which is bullshit. Ophelia makes a choice. She drowns herself in a fucking brook.
She chooses to drown?
They tell you she's crazy. Fell in when a branch broke. Her clothes got wet, and everybody knows once your clothes get wet, you're shit out of luck and you're going to drown. You think a weak branch, you think an accident. It's not David fucking Mamet. The priest won't bury her in hallowed ground because he sees she made a choice about life and death. That's why he drowns her. But academia...
I'm sorry, what does that mean? He drowns her.
Bullshit. Kim, listen. If you take this job, you have to know I'm going to say things that aren't right. That's the disease.
Got it.
It's the amyloids and peptides that... You see this mug. You ever drink tea in a plastic mug? It isn't warm, it isn't cold. But lately I misjudged distances, and a couple of weeks ago I put my china cup on the table here and missed the edge, so plastic mugs. I don't mean drown. He doesn't bury her in hallowed ground with ceremony. He doesn't want her to be seen.
Capable of making her own decisions.
Margaret, on the other hand, you see the painting? Margaret of Anjou, 15 years old, engaged to Henry VI. John Talbot's giving her the Book of Romances in honor of the engagement. The first chapters are Alexander the Great and Charlemagne. You get it?
So maybe he's saying she could be the next Alexander, the next Charlemagne.
Yes, brilliant. He sees her. He's telling her the choice is hers. You could be like them, or you can marry a king who's going to lose his mind and lose his power. You decide. Ophelia's more convenient.
For teaching that
They don't want you to choose.
men have always controlled the narrative.
Fuck the men. I'm talking about academia. I'm talking about the kyriarchy.
Kyriarchy. I'm not familiar.
It's a broader term, not just oppression of women by men. It's the whole white, male, Christian, heteronormative...
You're talking about intersectionality.
I'm talking about the kyriarchy. We have a word that works. We don't need... When old power structures start to die, the folks in charge will push the victim narrative to this Margaret book. From the Henry VI plays, Richard III. Nobody's going to say Margaret stepped on a branch. You see? This is going to change the story.
How much do you have on paper?
If I had it on paper, I wouldn't be hiring an assistant. It's in my head. It's in the notes. It's here. this room, this office, and my brain has a fuse, all right? And the fuse is burning. If you feel like you're comfortable with that.
I have some experience with
Alzheimer's.
dementia. My grandmother has diabetes, only she doesn't really like doctors.
Go ahead.
At one point, she was maybe only 50. Her leg got really infected. And between all the toxins and the pain, she made mistakes. She'd look at me and confuse me with my mother.
You look like your mother?
I do. Hold up.
So it's your mother, your father, your...
Just me, my mom, and my grams. My mother and I have a complicated relationship.
Complicated.
Yeah, I'd rather not if...
No.
Anyway, my grandmother got her leg amputated last year. That helped. This is my mother.
I see why she got confused.
She had me when she was 17. My grams had her young, too. My mother pushed me to break that pattern. So that's what I'm trying to do. Change how things work in my family. Coming to school here, even though, it is a lot of money.
You have loans?
I do, federal and private. My grandmother owns the house, so my mom got her to sign off on all the bank stuff.
How much, if you don't mind?
$74,000.
Oh, shit, Kim.
It'll be worth it. Black girls from Brockton don't get into places like this, so when I did, my mother decided it was how we were going to break that pattern. So I came, and every day it was like, I'm not supposed to be here. This was a mistake. Then one day, I was in first year seminar, which honestly felt like kind of a useless class. Professor Danielson came in to talk about images of women in Shakespeare. I asked a lot of questions because I didn't really agree with everything she said. And she asked me what my name was and told me to come to her office after class because we needed to have a conversation. It got real quiet in that seminar room. I went to her figuring she was going to tell me I should know my place and treat her with more respect or whatever. But she said I asked good questions, and I was a pretty independent thinker for our first year. We talked, and I don't know, it was probably an hour. I don't even remember all the things we talked about. It's just sitting in that office with the ideas flying and oak bookcases and the window looking out on the quad. I was like, this was not a mistake. This is what I'm here for. Sorry, that was a lot.
Don't apologize. I know what it's like to be 21.
Yeah. It's been amazing to have Professor Danielson advising me. And when she told me about this job, I don't want to sound like I'm fangirling or whatever, but the chance to work with the author of Wilding Women, that was like a seminal text.
Maybe you mean foundational?
Right? Sorry.
That's the problem. It didn't change the foundation. Now I find myself 55 years old in what should be my intellectual prime, but early fucking onset. It's a little precious to talk about the work one leaves the world when you've spent your life in the ivory tower, but this Margaret book,
It's going to be your legacy.
we need to change the female narrative in Western culture.
That is a hell of a work study job. I brought a resume.
Kim, I don't give a shit what's on this paper.
Okay.
Sally tells me you presented at an undergrad conference last year.
She thinks I could turn the presentation into an honors thesis and maybe an article.
I see.
About how the death of Queen Elizabeth led to a new image of the female body in Jacobean theater.
Oh, fuck. Don't do that.
Don't?
How'd she lay it out? Departmental honors? A letter of recommendation from her?
And if it gets accepted for publication, then when I apply to grad schools...
And that's how you break the pattern? A master's and a PhD and someday a teaching gig, maybe an office in a nice Seven Sisters school like this one with big windows looking out onto the quad.
That's the plan.
Oh, you're going to fail. 30 years ago, that might have... Don't write the article.
I'm already enrolled in senior thesis research.
Drop it and work with me. Wait a year on grad school.
Hold up. If I don't go to grad school next year, I have to move back to Brockton for some nothing job to pay off...
Then work for me after graduation. I have a grant. Once you're applying, a year from now, they'll be editing. They'll be... When they send out the
Proofs?
I don't know how capable I'll be at that point. There's a spare bedroom on the 3rd floor, so you won't have rent.
You're saying I should take this job, drop the thesis, the article, grad school.
The deck is stacked against you. A black girl from the projects wins a national merit scholarship.
I didn't grow up in the projects. My grandmother owns her house.
I misunderstood what Sally... I apologize, but you know what you want, and Sally's plan might have worked 30 years ago. Now, it'll get you into a half-assed master's program that's not a full ride, so more loans, and maybe a doctoral program with even more, and then you won't get tenure track because nobody gets tenure track, so you'll end up an adjunct in some third-rate... Teaching kids not half as smart as you. Is that the best option for an independent thinker like you? What did you do last year? Work study?
The dining hall?
And you decided you'd rather work with me? I'm honored. Why?
What?
If you work here, Kim, you're going to have to be honest because with my situation, it would be easy to take advantage.
Right.
So why do you want this job? Even though you don't know anything about Margaret of Anjou or the early histories, honesty.
Honesty. Right. Well, a research assistantship with Professor Beverly Norden looks a lot better on grad school applications than flipping burgers in the dining hall.
Yes, thank you. And I'll tell you, when old power structures start to die, the folks in charge will circle the wagons and make it... So if this is what you're after, you need help on the inside.
Please don't take this the wrong way, but are you doing this to help a black woman in particular? As long as we're being honest with each other.
Smart. It's not white savior complex if that's... You got yourself this far, which means you've got brains. Every indication is you've got ambition. So if somebody's going to get past the wagons, if somebody's going to change the narrative, why shouldn't it be you? You understood what I said about Ophelia, about the Book of Romances. You corrected me about the priest.
You were confused about.
I have to write this book before it drowns in the amyloids and peptides, and you have to make a choice. So, if you don't want to end up 6 figures in debt or back in Brockton...
When would you like me to start?
Que sera, sera, whatever will... Who the fuck are you?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
Were you, though?
And don't say Doris Day.
Oh, so we know you're cultured.
Who are you?
I asked first, and I believe I live here. So
I live here?
I just said that. Didn't you hear me? I heard me.
I work for Beverly.
How long have you worked for Beverly?
I started today.
What happened to Becca?
Becca?
Becca, 3'4" by 3'4" by 3'4". Oh, right. Beverly got to be too much for squat little Becca, so now there's you. And you are?
5'6".
Cultured and clever. I meant your name.
Kim, with a Y. What do you mean you live here?
The scion. The fruit of her loom. Roy Norden. Pleased to meet you, Kim with a Y.
Oh, she didn't tell me she's married?
Beverly Norden married? You shitting me? So, in the late 1980s, when the newly conceived idea of gestational surrogacy was taking hold of the uterine walls of American society...
Okay, got it.
You're not technically the fruit of her loom. She supplied half the yarn. I'm sorry. Is that too much?
Might be a little too much. Yeah. Roy? As in king?
Never underestimate Beverly. Leroy Edward Norden. You met French Margaret in the painting here. Her son Edward was supposed to become King of England.
Leroy Edward. King Edward. Got it.
She always had a sense of humor.
And that makes you a white guy named Leroy.
And I'd like to point out, I'm not always in my current condition, but we had a matinee today. School matinee at 10 a.m. in the morning for 75 middle school and high school kids who had no fucking idea what the play was about.
You're an actor.
Cultured, clever, and quick on the uptake. I see why she hired you. Two gentlemen of Verona. Set in the early 60s, a Ken Kesey electric Kool-Aid Mary Prankster style, and the director and sound designer, ironically. It is a production that drips irony, that oozes irony, that bleeds irony from every pore and every orifice. Used only selections from the Doris Day songbook. I'm not sure the sixth graders fully appreciated every level of resonance. One of the social media savvy amongst them asked, there was a talk back because agony is pointless if it is not sustained. One of them asked if it was a throwback Thursday to the Magic School Bus. After the matinee, a liquid lunch and home for a nap seemed like the best palate cleanser before tonight's show.
Well, Leroy.
Roy, please.
Roy, happy to meet you.
The pleasure is mine. You on the clock?
She went upstairs to rest. We worked 2 hours this morning so I can get familiar with the materials. It's not really my area.
Probably more of a Langston Hughes kind of girl.
Langston Hughes?
No, wait. Zora Neale Hurston. Hurston! Are you sure?
Why not Shakespeare?
He's like the ultimate out-of-touch white guy.
You came in second?
Whoa! Wow! You're the one who said it's not your area.
But early histories. I've been focused on the tragedies and late romances.
Oh, so what I said about Langston Hughes was that... Now we know how I got second place.
Got some early histories to read before I know where everything stands.
Gotcha. So, what do you think?
It's a lot of material. There's decades worth of notes.
How about an educated guess?
If you insist on a guess.
As the progeny of a notable figure in feminist literary theory, I would never insist you express an opinion, but I recognize that as part of your independent personhood, you possess an individuated but not necessarily gendered set of values, and I'm curious what you fucking think.
I fucking think it's overwhelming, and not just this conversation. Queen Margaret, if Beverly is right, and this is the way to come up with a new narrative, then
she will love and admire you for helping her finally...
That's not why. It's like an honor to work with her. Your mother is an icon.
And unless your mother was also an icon, you may not appreciate how difficult...
Yeah, I don't need any advice on how to deal with a difficult mother.
Okay, that is fair. Can you turn this into a book for her?
There's probably enough for 3 books here.
Then where are the books?
Wilding Women was a landmark in feminist Shakespeare criticism.
She published her dissertation so she'd get tenure almost 30 years ago.
She published a bunch of kick-ass articles.
Now, big bunch. So where are the books?
Where are what books?
Hello, Beverly.
What are you doing in here?
I was just making Kim's acquaintance.
Don't be an asshole, Leroy.
I'm not being an...
Goodbye, Leroy.
Goodbye, Beverly. Kim, I'm sorry if I'll see you soon.
Sure. I didn't know you had a son. He seems...
We've had to establish ground rules. This is my space, not his. Of course, for the purposes of the work, it's ours. You belong. He doesn't. And you can tell him that.
He's an actor?
He's a dropout. 28 years old, and he threw in the towel in graduate school, and that's enough about Leroy. You feeling at home?
Starting to. You got a lot of material here, and I'm sure you put it together according to how you see things, but...
But what?
It might take a while to figure out your system.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm very good at organizing, and I think that's something that I can...
I know where everything is. You'll figure it out as we go.
Got it.
The first thing to do is get familiar with the plays. First, second, and third Henry VI, Richard III. Take them one at a time, and we'll discuss.
Absolutely. Becca Larman worked for you last year?
Leroy told you?
Yeah. She's a strong writer.
We didn't get that far. She's a friend of yours?
Not really.
You'll do better. Now, I have a copy of 1 Henry VI for you to look at.
I can read it online tonight.
Online? That's not reading. Read my copy. I made annotations. I'll just...
It's no trouble if I read it.
Shit.
Is it hardcover or...
It's the Arden paperback Edward Burns edited. He's a little obsessed with dates of production.
Okay. Is it more likely to be on one side of the room than the other, or...
Becca must have it. I'll email her.
I'll message her.
You said you're not friends.
Facebook friends. Not... We have a group chat from first year seminar.
These are my annotated copies. Who knows what else she ended up taking?
Okay. Sent. I'll read it online when you get your copy back, and I'll look at the annotations.
It's a cautionary tale. Don't let people walk off with your materials.
I'm happy to read it here.
Oh, no, Kim. Wait, please don't think I said that. Because...
Becca says to check the tray on the side of the computer table.
Kim pulls the book from the tray.
Oh, for Christ's sake. I mean, you have to laugh, don't you? Thank her for me.
Will do. Right. I should go. I have class at 2:50. There you go.
I just prefer to keep my materials.
I'll read online and I'll look at your annotations next time.
You're back
Thursday.
Beverly puts the book on the arm of the couch.
Is there a place you think we should keep that?
Don't worry about it. Maybe you can show yourself out. I'm going to go up and rest.
Kim walks to the couch, picks up and fans through the copy of Henry VI, Part 1. She puts it back in the tray on the computer table.
And so Margaret is just walking around, holding Suffolk's head, her lover's severed head, right in front of King Henry.
It's grief.
Why is she grieving for Suffolk? He manipulated her. He kidnapped her. He made her marry the king. He had sex with her. And he was, like, way older.
There's a name for that.
Pedophilia.
No. Falling in love with, what's it called? Fjords. Prisoners.
Fjords. Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm Syndrome. Fjords. My God.
Letting Suffolk control her was a weakness.
Margaret is not weak.
She starts that way. Then these 3 scenes show her gaining power.
Interesting. Go ahead.
All right. First scene, she's walking around with her lover's head.
Right.
Second scene, she's silent.
Grieving.
No.
Kim, I've taught these plays for 150 years. The first time through, you're going to miss things.
Of course. But maybe you can hear me out and tell me what I missed.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay. First scene, she grieves about Suffolk. Second scene, she listens, and what she hears is her husband is a weak-ass king. He's promising to throw the Duke in jail to keep his enemy, York, happy. And then he turns to Margaret like, come, wife, let's end and learn to govern better. Wife, not queen.
It's the first time anyone talks to her, and he calls her wife.
Margaret hears that, and she figures out somebody's got to govern better, or York's gonna end up in charge of all of them.
Interesting.
So the third scene, all right, King Henry's still sucking up. Hey, York, I put the Duke in jail for you. How you like me now? And Margaret walks in with the Duke. She busted his ass out of jail, and she's walking in like, fuck you, Henry. Fuck you, York. Fuck you, patriarchy. I can govern better. This shit is mine. She's 20, 21 years old, and she's making the decisions, telling everybody what they will and won't do. She's in control now. She might have started as a wife.
But now she's a queen. That's very smart, Kim.
Yeah?
Yes. Good work. It's a remarkable...
Thank you. Great. Now, what I don't understand, in Wilding Women, you said Shakespeare's women couldn't have real power until the late romances. But here's this, like, really early play, and he's already saying it's a world where women can govern better.
Well, in a sense, Margaret's ready to govern, but the circumstances...
I mean, it just feels like that contradicts what you wrote.
We're very early in the cycle. So Margaret may be learning, but this early, it's England, and England is still...
Beverly, are you all right?
I'm fine.
Good. We should start writing some of this down, because this shit is amazing. Do you have someplace you want me to...
It's early to start writing, and you may feel differently after you've read Part 3 and Richard III.
I read them.
What?
I know we were supposed to do one play a week, but I got caught up with the whole... I mean, Margaret is a force. But then she ends up this crazy bitch running around Richard III, blaming everybody else for what happened to her. So if this is supposed to be changing the
She
narrative...
leads the Lancasters into battle and defeats York.
Okay, but if a character fails, which Margaret does by the time we get to Richard III...
Don't assume that the way a thing ends determines what it means.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Look at the results of a character's actions. Margaret loses her mind. She loses everything.
She makes a choice.
To lose her mind?
To go home to France.
How is that a happy ending?
A happy ending means the story stopped before the final act. You understand? Look at us. We're working, debating, sharpening the ideas. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's why you came here.
Well, yeah, that's part of it.
But it's not the ending. At some point, the proteins will get so tangled in my brain, I won't be capable... I'll forget who you are. The newest memories go first. I'll think you're some stranger come into my house to steal from me. And I'm afraid I may fall into some very ugly thoughts my parents had for people who look like you.
But there are drugs, right? That can slow down.
The drugs in the pipeline will do more, but by the time the FDA, Leroy may get them, not me.
Leroy? This is genetic?
He'll have better drugs. By the time they're approved, I'll have forgotten little things like how to swallow. So maybe I don't get them at all because a mouthful of chicken salad does me in. Which will be fine, because even with the drugs, I'm eventually going to piss myself. And I have to use this plastic mug because I've been misjudging. I told you that, didn't I?
You did.
That's the ending. I'll forget the name of this woman in the painting. What she could have been. How she could have lived. No, how a thing ends does not determine what it means, and that is why we don't go hang ourselves. Got it?
Got it. So then maybe we should put some of this on paper while we have it fresh.
When are you back? Tomorrow? Is today Monday?
It's Thursday. I'll be back Tuesday. It's on the calendar.
I want you to read part 3 for next time. Henry VI, part 3. All right?
I can do that.
You read it.
Yeah,
And Richard III. You told me.
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Right. I mean, you have to laugh, don't you? I mean, shit.
I'd like to make some notes about what we discussed today.
We're not ready for notes. We're just getting started.
But Beverly, I think that we...
Kim goes to the door, checks for Beverly, and closes the door. She returns to her laptop and begins typing.
Third scene. Margaret decides if Henry is too weak to lead. She calls England the scorpion's nest. Why would she stay in a scorpion's nest?
She's doing what she has to do to get what she wants.
But I'm talking about what it's doing to her. She goes from being the badass, busting the Duke out of jail, to this. When they capture York, she wipes his face with the cloth that's got his son's blood all over it.
It's war.
But what the actual fuck? You don't wonder about what she might have been, what she could have done if she decided to leave.
But that's not the play. That's not the narrative we... Are you on Facebook while we're working?
I am not.
No wonder we're 2 months into this and you... Put the computer away.
These notes are just for me, to help me keep everything clear.
Use this. We'll keep the notes here in this room. The materials should stay... Leroy, you're not allowed to interfere.
I am just bringing your tea. The mugs were on the counter.
Shit.
It's fine. You hadn't put water in the teapot.
What's the gas on?
Don't worry about it.
I forgot to, Beverly. We got caught up talking.
This is how houses burn down. What if you were out somewhere and Kim were not here?
Let's just have some tea and we can talk about...
I'm not going to have any fucking tea. We're done for today.
Mom, listen.
And do not call me Mom.
I'm sorry.
I have a name.
Beverly.
I'll write you down for 3 hours.
It hasn't been 3
I know how long. I'll see you when you're back. Don't bring the laptop. Use pen and paper and leave the notes here. You have to stay on task if you're going to make any progress.
I am on task, Beverly. I'm trying.
And you, Leroy, you are not. You're supposed to be raking the yard today. It's October, and you need...
I will do it when all the leaves are down.
Well, I wish you would do something to make yourself useful.
Beverly, as you have noticed, isn't good with imperfection. Especially her own.
It's fine.
Can I pour you some tea?
I gotta organize my notes from this morning.
You, starting to see why Becca left?
This is my job. This book, it's my job. I know you don't think I'm capable.
I'm not saying anything about your ability.
But I should be writing about Zora Neale Thurston?
Hurston. I know that now. Okay, I was drunk, and it was a dick thing for me to say. Fortunately, I am not always drunk, and I hope I'm not always a dick. And I apologize for that.
Okay.
Can I pour you some tea?
Why do you want to pour me some tea?
Because it has been thoroughly steeped.
I need to organize my notes.
Because you and Beverly have started writing?
Roy, if you could just...
I got hired at a private school last spring to direct a production of Comedy of Errors. There's a kid who understudies for the Goldsmith. Every day he's like, "You have any time to work on my big speech?" This speech is like 10 lines, but every couple of days I stay late to work with him. He's never going to do the speech on stage, and it's kind of pissing me off. And then one day, it hits me. This is the gig. I'm not there as, an artist to direct the show. I'm getting paid to work with this fucking kid.
Lovely story.
Beverly's good at taking advantage of people who...
You don't need to explain to me how this works, Roy. I see it. I make the choice to be here despite all of that.
Well, I guess we made the same choice then.
You made the choice to live rent-free in a nice house in Swelterly? Do your little actor thing, come home drunk in the middle of the day. We don't all have your options.
All I'm trying to say is Beverly's easier for me to deal with on the day she works with you. But the smartest thing for you to do would probably be to...
Would be to let you tell me what to do and walk out of here with nothing. No book, no article, nothing to show grad school. I move back to Brockton for some shit job to pay back the loan so they don't come after my grandmother's house? No. I'll be making the decisions because I'm the one who knows what I need, all right?
Okay, fine. But I don't think you understand the gig.
When people who look like you hire people who look like me, we understand the gig pretty well. We also understand that we'll have to deal with a lot of shit if we're gonna get what we need. I'm gonna stay and get this written because that's what I need to do. We're clear on that now.
Crystal clear.
Kim takes the photo of her mother from her bag, finds tape, opens her laptop, and attaches the photo next to the trackpad.
Are you gonna work this morning?
That's none of your fucking business.
It's gonna feel better if you...
I'm finished talking to you.
Beverly? Beverly!
Hey,
Guessing the appointment didn't go well?
the doctor says we're at the point where if I have to go out, rehearsal or whatever, we need to have someone stay with her. She was not a fan. She ordered me out of the examining room, said I needed to stop violating doctor-patient confidentiality. Dr. Abrams said no, I should stay because she was no longer reliable reporting her own condition. She said, then I suppose you won't need to hear from me anymore, and kept her mouth shut for the rest of the appointment.
I'm sorry about that.
Not your fault. Just new and useful information. We are in a different place now. I'm sorry I didn't get the ice melt down in the front steps. I should have.
I managed.
What are you looking for?
It's December. I asked my old advisor, Dr. Danielson, if I could still do honors thesis with her. She said she already had an honors advisee, so kind of on my own now.
On your own for...
I'm trying to finish an annotated outline.
An outline for what?
If I can put an article together, I can still apply for grad school next year. I've got to get something out of this.
She's not going to write an article with you.
Yeah, that's not actually what I'm saying.
Then what are you saying? Oh. You're going to write the article.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It's a good idea.
But when Beverly finds out,
Why would she need to know?
they're her ideas, her thesis. Putting it into print without telling her, that's...
What you need to do to get what you want.
I'm just putting an outline together, hypothetically.
Whose name goes on that article? Hypothetically.
It's her thesis.
Yeah. But if the goal is to get into grad school, then
And it's got to have both of our names.
it'll be your writing.
Which is terrifying. No advisor, nobody to look at the drafts, and I don't know. I understand her thesis, and I know that there's evidence here somewhere, but it's a fucking disaster. I would need to organize her paper so I can find
So
it.
organize them.
It must be nice to have such easy choices. Never worry about the consequences.
You think that's what I'm doing?
It's not. You got tired of grad school. You had a pretty cushy fallback. Not all of us.
Beverly probably told you I dropped out of school and moved back home because I'm a lazy asshole with no ambition.
You dropped out, didn't you?
I'm not saying this just to get sympathy. I know you don't like me.
I never said I didn't like you.
I came home a year ago for Christmas break, and it was clear she was getting to where she wouldn't be able to take care of herself, so I didn't go back.
Back to...
UCLA. 1 semester into the MFA acting program.
They're good for acting?
They're pretty good for acting, yeah.
I apologize. I made an assumption.
No, you relied on Beverly for facts. That's not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, Roy. I'm sorry for being a bitch.
You're not a bitch. Okay, maybe a little. You okay? So, about how you never said you don't like me.
Roy,
Good idea. The article.
even if I wanted to write it, how do I find the evidence? She's never gonna let me organize her papers.
Okay, hear me out. The appointment this morning made it clear she's slipping. So if you need to move her materials to get things done, it'll be easier now. And the way to do this is... Good morning, Beverly. You've changed.
What are you doing in my office?
I popped in to see if Kim needs anything.
Is that a lie? I know you lie to me. Kim, pardon my... I didn't realize you'd be... I'm angry with you, Leroy.
I know. I apologize.
What am I angry about? Something happened this morning. Kim, did he do something? What am I angry about?
I don't know.
How about tea? Can I get you some?
It's the tea, isn't it?
You are angry that I bought all the Snapple iced tea. The weather's cold and...
You should see, Kim. Cases of it. I went into the pantry the other day looking for...
Do you need me to help you with your robe?
I do not.
Beverly holds her robe closed.
The iced tea?
Yes. Why are you spending my grocery money on that when we could be drinking hot tea like civilized people?
I can make some now.
Do it. Kim, I'm late this morning. I don't know where the time went. I want to talk about Margaret's lover, Suffolk, how they double-cross him on the boat.
You mean the letter from Lomner?
Blomner, exactly. His heart failed him, for he thought he was deceived. Tea, Leroy.
Coming right up.
I'm glad I can trust you, Kim. He lies. He tries to control... let's talk about... what's it called? This is not Alzheimer's. I just can't remember. Pastor...
Lomner's letter to Paston.
Paston. Kim, you're brilliant. The letter to Paston. Get it? And we'll start with that.
Where would you like me to look?
Wherever you put it.
Okay, but I didn't...
Her lover, Suffolk, is banished to France, but they board the ship and cut off his head.
Can I ask you something? I mean, it's a hard question.
You can ask me anything.
What do you see as our timetable? I know a book takes time, but it's December. If we come back to this at the end of the break...
You're worried.
I understand your thesis, but if I can't find the evidence for it in this mess...
We can work through the holiday. Are you taking a winter session class?
How do we start writing if I can't find the evidence? I graduate in May.
You can move in after graduation. There's a room on the 3rd floor.
Beverly, there's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to say it.
What?
We can't do this. The book. Not with this kind of chaos. We're 3 months in, and we haven't been able to get started on...
We haven't been able to get started because it's taken you so long to get up to
I'm sorry,
speed.
that is not true. If you would let me organize the materials...
You don't
in
have
here.
a sense of the materials. If Becca were still here, Becca was quick. Now, get us the pastor letter.
I don't know where the Paston letter is.
It's where you put it the last time we worked.
I haven't moved anything from...
And if you don't remember...
I'm here to work with you, Beverly. If you keep...
And you thought it would be easy? Your generation, you and Leroy, He drops out of school. You hit a bump in the road.
This is not a bump in the road.
Some people come up against the hard stuff and walk away.
I have been up against the hard stuff, and I'm not.
Go back to the dining hall. Go back to Brockton and end up like your mother.
We've already made that choice. So please do not say I haven't come up against the hard
You
stuff.
don't even know what the hard stuff.
Beverly, I'm sorry, but you don't get to tell me
No. I see you now. You'll end up just like your mother. So,
I didn't have a kid at 17. That particular decision got made already, so no, you do not see me. And you do not get to tell me I haven't come up against the hard stuff.
wait. Kim, are you saying...
The start of my senior year. High school, senior year. I told my mother what was going on, and she said, we're not going to let that happen to us again. And just like that. And she knew my grandmother would never go along with it. I told you I grew up Catholic, but my grandmother was confused a lot of the time. So my mother told her we needed more money for my college applications, and my grams got the money out of the bank. And my mother took me down to the clinic and paid for everything and sat out in the waiting room while I went in.
Well, Kim, you made a difficult choice.
My mother made a choice. She made the choice for me. I didn't know what I wanted. She didn't even bother to ask. She manipulated my grams into paying for it, so she didn't even get to choose either. And then she decided I was going to come here. And here I am.
She wanted what was best for you. That's all.
And if not having a kid was best for me, I guess she thought having me wasn't what was best for her. Decisions have been made for me, and I'm done with that. I need to get to a place where I'm making the decisions myself. That's what has to happen. All right, so I need you to let me organize the materials so I can find the evidence we need, because I can't come out of this with...
Everything all right?
Everything's fine.
Kim has...
What?
She has this idea she should reorganize. 20 years, 30 years worth of materials.
So we can find the evidence we need. I can catalog as I go, make a database, so we'll be able to find whatever we need to find.
Beverly, you might be better off keeping things as they are and letting Kim go.
What?
Do you feel like she's pressuring you? This is your space. The last thing you want is to be uncomfortable.
I will not be made uncomfortable in my own space.
Can I pour your tea?
Please.
That's a china cup.
I'm sorry?
I thought, Beverly, you use plastic mugs.
Plastic. That would be terrible, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would.
That would be worse than a case of Snapple in the pantry.
A case of Snapple. Kim, do you know what Leroy did? It's ridiculous.
I know, I'm sorry.
He bought cases of Snapple iced tea. Now, in the middle of... It's winter, isn't it?
It sure is.
It's freezing. I went somewhere this morning and we were in the car. We were driving and it's very cold today.
A perfect day for a hot tea then. Here you go. I put lemon and sugar in it for you. So let me make sure I understand. Kim, you want to arrange things so Beverly can work on her book.
Yes.
I see. Kim?
It would make writing easier for you, Beverly, for me, for anybody who comes in to help. We could locate whatever evidence we need.
So, Mom, what about letting Kim set things up so you can get started? Let me help you with that.
Roy ties Beverly's robe for her.
There you go.
Thank you, Leroy.
You're welcome. It sounds like Kim wants to get things organized so you can get your book written. That's what you want, isn't it? Margaret of Anjou?
This does not move.
Of course.
Of course not.
This stays here. Margaret and the Book of Romances.
Yes.
If you move in for winter session, Kim, for January, you can do it all then.
Move in.
We've got the room on the 3rd floor. I've got grant money to pay you, and when the semester starts up, we're off.
Writing.
Writing. Now, Kim, when you find his heart failed him, for he thought he was deceived. When you find the letter, leave it out for next time.
We haven't really started for the day.
You've worn me out, both of you. And you wonder why. You come in here, you wear me out. I'm going upstairs.
Good. Get some rest.
When you find the letter to Pastor, leave it out so we can work on it next time. Stay as long as you need.
Of course.
I'm going to rest. You've worn me out.
Roy pours a second cup of tea.
China cups?
China cups.
You manipulated her.
That was improv. Accept the circumstances you're given and move this scene forward. I moved home to take care of Beverly, and that's what I'm...
Trust me. She trusts me, and you put me in a position where I had to manipulate her too.
You gotta deal with a lot of shit if you're gonna get what you need. Didn't you tell me that? And it was nice for a minute. She smiled, she thanked me. We joked about the iced tea. She even let me call her mom. She hasn't let me do that in maybe a year. It was nice.
It wasn't real.
We are accepting the circumstances and moving the scene forward to get what we need. You wanted to organize the materials so you can write the article, have something to show grad schools. She wanted you to move into the house and work over break. You get what you want, she gets what she wants, and everybody's happy. So what harm has been done here today? Welcome home.
Act 2. The room has been reorganized, and the mess has turned to order. Heavy snow falls outside the windows.
Okay, let's just calm down a little.
I'm not going to calm down. How long did it take you to do this?
Winter session, 3 weeks. We agreed about this.
No, I did not agree to let
Beverly,
you...
please, you were here while I was doing it.
What if I want to look at Helen Castor?
We can do that. The book, the article, or the video series.
What if I want to look at Helen Castor?
Okay, come here and I'll show you. Please, Beverly, just come here and look. I'll type it in. You don't have to do anything. Just come close enough and I'll explain. Perfect. It's really easy. You type Castor into the search bar here, hit enter, and see, it gives you the location of all of your materials, including the link to the video on YouTube, She-Wolves, England's Early Queens. I also captured that video and saved it, so if you ever need it, you'll have access if it gets taken down.
Why is this on your computer and not mine?
It's not. It's in Google Drive. I shared it with you. If you check your email, there's a link.
So I've got to check my email and get on Google Drive just to find out where you put my materials?
You agreed to this. Now we can both find things.
You can find things. I can find them if I ask you.
I'll teach you how to use it so you know.
You are not here to teach me. I need the Castor article to be here on the shelf.
The book was on the shelf.
I need to reach out and feel the pages with my fingers.
All right. Suppose the article is on the shelf and the book is somewhere else, and the link to She-Wolves is on the desktop as an HTML file. Then when you forget, if you forget where they are, neither of us will have access. Now, nobody has to remember because it's listed here.
Leroy!
Beverly, please, you've been fine with this whole...
Leroy, get down here!
What's the matter?
Beverly,
When is your spring break?
it's in March, so 6 weeks.
Are you going home to...
Brockton, I haven't decided.
How do you get there?
The train to South Station, then a bus, somebody will pick me up.
Yeah, but how do you get there? You understand? Point.
Point?
Where's... Oh, fuck. What's it called?
Brockton.
Point in the direction of Brockton.
It's like south.
Where are you?
Follow my voice, Leroy. Point south. Brockton south.
What's wrong? Hey, I thought you were moving back to the dorm.
So did I.
Oh, sorry about my morning breath.
How do you get to an audition?
I'm sorry, what are we doing?
You've got an audition someplace you haven't been. You take my car. How do you get there? You're not dressed and you have your phone.
Yeah.
Now you don't. How do you get there?
First I say, politely, give me my fucking phone.
Point to Brockton, Leroy.
Mom, come on, what do we do?
And you are not to call me...
Jesus.
I have a name.
Beverly, sorry.
Kim's trying to get to Brockton. Point to it.
There's Google Maps in the phone.
She's not mad at you. She's angry that I organized the materials.
You have no sense of where things are in the real world.
There are a lot of things in the real world. Why do I need to keep track of where everything...
You leave the house, you'll wander off.
I see.
Your generation's got Alzheimer's, not mine. It's a lack of mental discipline.
Beverly, what I did, that's discipline. I organized and cataloged the materials so they won't get lost if you...
They are lost. You hid them on your computer.
They're not on my computer. The database will tell you exactly
Let
where...
me speak. Let me speak in my own fucking room. These are my materials. These are my ideas, and you are to leave them where they belong. I need to feel the pages. History Today, the article on paper on this shelf.
You don't remember if the article is on the shelf or in the file cabinet. Now, it doesn't matter if you remember or not.
That's very Schrodinger's cat.
Oh, shut up, Leroy.
All you do is typecaster into...
I'm not paying you to take the knowledge out of... You understand? To do what this disease... Put it back where you found it, all of it.
It would take weeks to put everything
Let it take
back.
weeks then. You're being paid. Or, if you don't care to do what I hired you to do, you can just... Fuck.
Brockton.
Leroy, I did not... Brockton is that way.
Mom, for the love of God.
And you are not to call me that.
Beverly, Oh, for fuck's sake.
You okay?
What does it look like, Roy? Do I look okay to you?
One of my, maybe my earliest memory, first grade. So I'm like 6? We're supposed to get our parents to sign a report card and bring it back. She forgot to sign. So Mrs. Geary, my teacher, she gave me back the card and said, Leroy, you have to tell your mommy to sign this. Mrs. Geary, I said, she has a name.
She agreed that I could do this. She agreed I could organize materials. She was here while I was doing it.
This is not about the materials. She's upset you're moving back today.
What?
You heard her. You leave the house, you wander off.
So now I can't decide when to leave.
You can. She's just going to be pissed about it. Did you write the outline?
What?
You reorganized. Did you make progress on the outline? The article?
I finished the outline. I'm connecting the major points to textual evidence.
And the grad school applications?
Columbia's in. That's my number 1. Michigan, Northwestern. Don't tell her I'm applying.
I won't. You finished the outline and you started the application. Sounds like mission accomplished. How about a mint to celebrate? Not saying you need one, but you're welcome.
Fuck you, Roy. So I'm supposed to put everything back where it was. It took like 3 weeks.
Listen to me, Kim. We had that conversation and you already agreed it was best. Beverly will be happy to hear that.
And when she discovers I didn't put things back?
We'll deal with them then.
How do you live with yourself?
Same way you do.
I'm not lying to her face. I'm not an actor.
Acting is not lying. It's living truthfully in imaginary circumstances.
These are not imaginary circumstances.
She has Alzheimer's. How much more imaginary could her circumstances be?
That's a terrible thing to say.
Because it's the truth, and the truth sucks. The truth makes everybody miserable, and the job here is to keep my mother happy. Schrodinger's cat.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
English majors. It's a physics thing, okay? About quantum mechanics and a cat in a box. I don't know how you put the cat in the box. Schrodinger. Anyway, the idea is that if a cat is in a box and has a 50-50 chance of being alive or being dead from some quantum whatever, then for all practical purposes, until you open the box and look, it's both alive and dead. Both. That's why Beverly isn't going to write the book.
She wrote Wilding Women before she was 30. It was huge.
In one little corner of one little room on one little floor of the 12th tower of Academe. And it got everybody wondering what was going to come next. Her, too. She decided the best course of action was to rebuild the female narrative in Western culture, which is one fuck of a box to look in. Then, a couple of years ago, a blood test showed a heightened level of inactive IRS-1.
You lost me again.
It's an insulin receptor in the brain. An elevated level means somebody left the barn door open and all the pretty horses are going to run away. The test predicts years in advance.
So, she could check her family's history and...
The family that disowned her for her lifestyle choices, I don't...
Yeah, but if you've contacted them and let them know, don't
Right?
you...
I should definitely look into that box and find out how fast this thing fries the brain of every member of our family.
Oh, Croy, I'm sorry.
My point is, thank God for the elevated level of an inactive IRS-1, because it means she doesn't have to write the book. She never has to look in that box.
I do. It's the end of January. If I'm going to get any of these schools interested in me, I need to write the article. I can't do that if I'm battling with her every day.
Then don't move back to the dorm. Stay here. She'll be less upset, so there'll be less arguing. Then she gets tired and goes up to rest. You can write.
Why do you want me to stay?
To finish the article.
That's what I want. Why do you want me to stay?
She's easier to deal with when you're here. The 2 weeks you went to Brockton for Christmas, that was not good.
Can we be real about this for a second? I don't want to be one of your imaginary circumstances. Was there somebody out at UCLA?
Truth?
Yes, truth.
There was.
And this person is he or she?
He or she? Okay, she.
Is she waiting for you to come back?
I didn't take a leave. I quit the program. We liked each other a lot. I could see us being pretty happy together. Best case scenario, everything works out for us, we're happy, and then 20, 25 years from now, they check my level of inactive IRS, and...
Fuck. I'm sorry, again. I should not be allowed to talk to people.
It's okay, it's whatever. What about you?
Me?
You've been living here 3 weeks, no dates in that time, as far as I can tell. No furtive text messages. You got somebody? Here? Back in Brockton?
We do not need to have this conversation.
You brought it up. You don't get lonely sometimes?
That's a luxury I don't have time for.
Wow. Just like that.
This is not going to be about...
Because I do get lonely. I've been back here with Beverly for a year now, and it's the loneliest I have ever felt. The last 3 weeks have been better. That's all I'm saying.
That's all. That's as far as this goes.
I think we both understand what my future looks like, yeah? I'm glad you don't not like me, but I decided last year I'm not going to try to get involved with anybody I'd actually want to be involved with. Ooh, that is weird to say out loud. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be weird about this. None of this ends well for Beverly or for me. But if you stay here, you can finish the article, and maybe it ends better for you.
And it's less lonely for you.
But that is a luxury you don't have time for.
Roy,
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna stay.
That'll make her very happy.
What about you?
We don't look in that box. Let that cat be.
You know something?
What?
I hate that fucking cat.
The middle of the night. Kim at her laptop, drinking coffee from a china cup. Roy enters, drunk, having walked through snow.
Beverly?
Hey, no, it's just me.
Why is it just you?
You're drunk. Did you drive home like this in the snow?
Why would you ask that?
Did you get drunk after the show?
I did not drive drunk. I was driven drunk, if that offends you.
Good.
Bad, because I was first asked to surrender my keys, returned upon my arrival here, which has left a 2009 Subaru Forester in the city of Cambridge, and what the snow has transformed into an unmarked and undisclosed location. Fortunately, I thought to snap a picture of the environs before... Oh, won't you look at that? It is Valentine's Day. Happy belated.
How do you plan to get Beverly's car tomorrow? And did you get someone to shovel the front steps, plow the driveway?
Hey, one of us is in no condition to answer those questions. May I pour you a drink?
No, thank you.
So if we're not drinking, what are we doing?
You might be getting ready to throw up.
Yes, Mother.
Don't call me that.
Sorry. Beverly, why are you down here at this hour?
I couldn't sleep, so I came down to read.
Does half cup of coffee have anything to do with that?
It's decaf.
I do the grocery shopping. There's no decaf in the house. What's going on?
I think you shouldn't talk about something until it actually happens.
Oh, fuck. You finished the article.
No,
You didn't. You got into grad school. No, it's too early for that. Come on, what?
You're gonna wake her up.
I'm wasted and impatient, and I'm going to start drunk shouting for my mother if you don't tell...
Shakespeare survey. I sent them a query at the end of January to see if they might be interested in an article from Beverly. And it turns out they're doing a whole Margaret edition. They want pages.
Well,
Shit just got real.
that's amazing.
That's terrifying. Now I've actually got to finish it.
So finish it.
But now that I've got all the evidence together,
What?
I don't see it.
See what?
Beverly's thesis. She claims Margaret is ready, and even though things don't end well, Shakespeare's point is that women are ready to rule.
Okay.
But she's making the wrong choices. She stays in the scorpion's nest. She goes into battle. She abuses York. Beverly says Margaret fails because the times aren't ready. But that ignores all the shit she actually does.
So what are you gonna do?
They want pages. And she's Beverly Norden. They're going to follow up if they don't get them.
Can you write your idea that Margaret is making mistakes?
Not with her name on it.
Then write it with yours. Your thesis, your name.
They want Beverly's name in the magazine. It's got to be her thesis.
Can you write that?
I understand it, but...
Then write it. Her thesis, both your names.
Okay, so that's like... It's betraying her and betraying me.
It gets you what you want.
If I don't support her thesis, how can I submit?
Would you be happy if they said don't send pages? Come on, Kim.
What are you doing?
What do we have here? Single barrel aged drum.
No, thank you.
They want the article. We should celebrate.
We are not a we.
We are such a we. We put up with Beverly's shit, don't we? We figure out how to keep her happy and how to keep ourselves from going out of our minds. Which, on a fucked up night in the middle of the record-breaking snow, happens to be a distillation of the spirits of the tropics. Self-care in a bottle.
Roy,
Yes?
what the fuck is single barrel rum?
Oh, just you wait.
Why would a bottle of rum come from more than one barrel? That makes no sense.
They age it in a single barrel.
Oh, that makes it better?
Of course it makes it better. Okay, I have no idea. Something makes it better, and we are going to enjoy the betterness, all right? So let's toast to the survey.
Shakespeare survey.
Shakespeare survey, a published article, grad school, and a buried Subaru. Okay?
Okay, fine.
What the fuck did you do?
Jesus Christ.
It's a sipping rum.
You didn't tell me that.
You want a ping pong ball and a solo cup? Fucking undergraduates.
Fucking old men.
Whoa, no. Men reach their peak at 28.
18.
No, that's not... 18, really?
Really?
Well, I'm fucked. Here's to my enviable... what's the word?
Inevitable?
My inevitable, unenviable decline. That took a turn. Mird Prost Sie gesund.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Right? You drink it like a scholar, not a sorority girl. A published and brilliant scholar in her book-lined office at a Seven Sisters school, celebrating a triumph of critical analysis.
It's not a triumph yet. Still have to write it. And then there's the conversation. It's gonna have her name on it. She has to know.
Does she?
You know, she'd find out. It'd have to be something like, by Beverly Norden, PhD, with Kimberly Baker.
And Kimberly Baker.
Oh, like anybody's gonna believe some random college senior would be an equal co-author with...
Why do you keep talking about yourself like that? You didn't used to. You came into this house like the strongest, smartest, most badassiest person in...
Beverly, get this rum anyway.
What changed?
Nothing changed, Roy.
So what happened to take no prisoners, do what you gotta do, Kim?
Maybe you're starting to actually see me.
Because maybe you're finally letting that happen.
Maybe. Roy,
Kim with a Y.
you don't want to do something you'll regret later.
I already regret pretty much everything.
Okay, but
You
said...
never think about doing something you're gonna regret?
Yeah, but right now...
But right now, with the rum and the snow falling all around us...
Look, I'm gonna say something, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way.
Hit me.
I think you're a good person.
What?
You love to act like an asshole. You want the world to think that that's you, but underneath all that, I think you're a thoughtful, decent, good person.
Well, thank you, Miss Buzzkill.
And you shouldn't try so hard to make it seem like you're not.
You might be overestimating me.
I'm not. Neither is your mom. She knows you're here to help her.
She has a name, Kim.
She never let you call her mom.
She used to. Growing up, when we were outside the house, she had me call her Beverly. Mom was just for the two of us. When I moved back home, that changed. And it is a little hard to get used to.
You think she was trying to help you?
How does that help me?
Because it'll hurt less to lose Beverly than to lose Mom.
Well, shit.
Sometimes people push you away because they know you're going to be better off without them.
I'm not better off without you. I knew you living here would make Beverly happier. I didn't understand how it was going to make me feel.
You trying to push me back to the dorm?
No.
Good. I've had a lot of people show me that they can't be trusted. So I learned to mostly rely on myself. You should be about the last person I'd want to rely on, so I can't believe this happened. But you are the only one I trust.
So don't fuck that up.
So don't fuck that up.
I don't want to push you away.
Good. I'm glad. I'm gonna give you a hug right now.
You are?
I am. All right?
Yeah.
Kim embraces Roy.
What's going on in here?
Beverly, what are you doing up?
I came down to read. I couldn't sleep.
How long has this been going on between you two?
Wait, hold up.
Wait, what do you think is going on?
We were just having a drink. I couldn't sleep. I came downstairs.
It's what's her name all over again, isn't it?
Let's get you back to bed. We'll talk about it in the morning.
What was her name? Last spring.
Who, Becca?
Once he's worked his way through the perky and willing young women in any show he's in, he goes after my assistants.
Listen, Kim, that's not
Don't
what happened.
listen to him. He lies. You lied to me. I know you do. Now, I have to walk in and see you do what men have done to women. What white men have done to colored women.
Hold up, Beverly. We're gonna stop right there.
Use sex to subjugate.
No. We need to calm down.
And now you're drinking with him? I'm deeply disappointed that
He poured me some rum.
I need you to be honest with me, or else you can go back to writing your little... You can go back to Sally Danielson and see how far that gets you.
Let me get you back upstairs and we can talk about this in the morning.
Because you think I won't remember in the morning. I know what you do. Kim, I have to know if you are someone I can rely on or if you're trying to take advantage of me too. Honesty.
Honesty. You're right, Beverly. What you saw. Leroy did become physical with me in an inappropriate way.
What?
Beverly, I couldn't sleep tonight, so I came down to do some reading. He came in drunk, but he's drunk. It was the alcohol.
I see. I appreciate your honesty. With my situation, it would be easy.
It would.
Neither of us should have to accept his lies, and I am done with them. Leroy, I see no reason to continue my association with you.
Your association? You're my mother.
Then why do you lie? Neither of us can trust you.
I don't need to trust Leroy, because I can trust myself. He lies to you, he lies to me. We both know that. So we can handle it. Now, all that happened here tonight was a little too much alcohol. And we can talk about it in the morning when we're rested and sober.
Kim, listen.
I'm starting to realize why you publish Wilding Women so young.
You see it, don't you? You see why we haven't finished the book. 28 years of sacrificing my intellectual life to be someone's mother. Motherhood is a stupid choice. You understand that, don't you, Kim?
Beverly,
We both understand that. But if you ever chance to have a child, that's Margaret. If you ever chance to have a child, look in his youth to have him so cut off. And you keep your hands to yourself.
I'd like to apologize, Kim. I shouldn't have had so much to drink.
And you do not need to accept his apology. Thank you, Kim. I'm glad there's someone in this house I can trust. Thank you.
of course. I'm sorry, Roy.
No need to apologize. Better at this than I thought.
I don't want to talk about it, all right? I don't like lying to people.
It's doing what you gotta do. I understand. And I want to be clear. Nothing happened with Becca.
And I don't want to talk about that either.
I just don't want you to think that something...
Go check on Beverly.
Right. And you know... Thank you.
And go sleep it off.
Thank you for...
I need to work.
So you're writing it, her thesis. Doing what you gotta do to get what you want.
Good night, Roy.
We hear the sound of water dripping and running down one of the bookshelves, soaking some of the books.
For Christ's sake, Kim, where are you?
Coming!
What did you do in here? There's water everywhere.
It's ice dams. Do you have any old towels?
What are you talking about?
We need to get the books off the shelves. Oh, they're getting soaked.
If you rearrange everything.
Listen to me, Beverly.
I need to find 3 Henry 6.
It's right here. Oh, shit, it's soaked.
It has my notes in it. Why is my book soaked? What did you do in here?
There are ice dams at the edge of the roof. Now that the sun is out, the rest of the snow is melting, the water gets backed up behind the ice.
If you hadn't moved everything, this would not be.
I'll put everything back where it was. But first, we need to take the books off the shelves so they can dry out.
Hey, I just picked up. What's happening?
You have ice dams, all right?
Oh, well, that sucks.
You don't belong in here, Leroy.
I know, I was just gonna
I put up with this long enough.
Right now, the priority is
Kim,
to...
listen, I got something for you.
Get us some towels, Roy, now.
Fine, Jesus.
I'm tired of the chaos, Kim. My books, my notes.
I know it's upsetting. But we can fix it. Right? Just use the towels.
And you are not to be in this room.
I'm just trying to help.
I want the articles back. The books, the journals, all of it.
Beverly, listen.
Give me a towel.
I don't understand why you're doing this to me.
Here, let me...
Get the fuck away from me. Everything you touch, both of you.
Mom, please calm down.
Look what you did. My notes, my annotations. They're all washed away. All of them. This is your fault. If you hadn't moved everything.
This is not my fault.
It's not Kim's fault. Here, let me just...
Don't touch me. These are my notes, my ideas. Wiped away. You wiped them away. Both of you. It's gone. It's all gone.
We'll get everything back where you need it.
30 years. And it's all... You see what you did? There's nothing. Look at this. Every thought I ever had. Every idea. And now it's gone because you did this. Now I have nothing left because you...
Beverly, look. This came in the mail.
What? What is that?
Hold up. Is that?
You don't have nothing. And Kim didn't...
What is it?
It's from Shakespeare Survey, Cambridge University Press.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is not the right time to...
Tell me what this is about.
Nothing is gone, Beverly. Nothing is wiped away. Here you go. It's about the article you and Kim have been writing.
This is not the way to handle this.
What article?
Oh, don't tell me you don't remember. You've been writing it since January.
Is that true?
Kim handled the communication.
Fuck's sake, Roy.
You haven't lost anything. You wrote an article and Kim sent it in. You haven't lost a thing.
Is that a lie, Kim? I know he lies to me.
Tell her, Kim, please.
It's your article, Beverly. Your thesis. That the play shows Margaret is ready to rule and the times aren't ready for her.
But...
Kim sent it in for you. Just tell her what you did.
I sent it in for you. I did.
You might not remember all the details, but that's just the progress of the disease. Kim took care of everything. The article is done. The book is next.
Thank you for your recent submission for our upcoming edition.
You see, you haven't lost anything.
We regret.
What?
We regret to inform you that our editorial board is unable.
Oh, fuck.
While we were impressed by the strength of the writing and intrigued by the notion of Queen Margaret as a study of potential, the editorial board feels that ignoring the textual evidence of Margaret's own complicity... What did you send them?
Can I see the letter?
Show me the article.
Hold on.
Get out of my office right now. Where's the article, Kim?
It's on my computer.
Why is my article... Show me.
Listen, Beverly, we can...
I would like to know what you did to my ideas that they would fail to see.
Here.
Queen of Sad Mischance. Beverly Norden, Ph.D., and Kimberly Baker. Shakespeare's equivocal portrait of Queen Margaret, a young woman eager to rule within the hierarchy that captured and repressed her. I didn't write this.
You did.
I'm sick of the lies. Kim, you told me I could trust you.
Beverly,
You stole my ideas, and
I
you
didn't steal anything.
You're a thief. Do you know that? Did you know the first day you came,
Now, listen to me.
I taught you the histories, the character, and this is how you thank me.
It was your thesis.
I opened my doors and gave you all the support I could.
That's not what you were...
I brought you here to learn, to
You
write.
were gonna write the... You brought me here to be the help.
You will not stand there and accuse me.
I said yes. Because there was supposed to be something here from me, too.
Something you could take from me.
I didn't take anything.
Kim hasn't taken anything from you.
And misrepresent.
I
Because
did not misrepresent.
they would not have rejected the article if you had represented my
rejected
ideas.
the article, and I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. They rejected the article because you got Margaret wrong.
Oh, that's funny. You're telling me. What do you know about Margaret?
I understand her better than you do.
Oh, how dare you?
Maybe it wasn't her choice to go into the scorpion's nest, but she decided to stay. I understand that. I stayed after everything you took from me, my honors thesis, grad school.
You will not blame me for what you...
I don't blame you. I chose to stay, just like she did.
The world was not ready to be ruled.
Beverly, when you decide to spend 30 years in the scorpion's nest, you don't get to blame somebody else when you fail.
We can still make this work.
This was never going to work. And what grad school is going to be interested in?
Grad school? No. I'm going to notify the dean.
Beverly, no.
The college should know about this.
May I have my laptop?
And look at this. Your own picture. It's all about you, isn't it?
That's my mother.
This is you. I see that. And this is what I think of you.
Beverly!
Here. All yours.
Give Kim the laptop.
No. I'm going to take it to the dean in the morning.
Beverly! I'll get it back.
Seek not a scorpion's nest, nor set no footing on this unkind shore.
Kim drops the pieces of the photograph onto the table.
I told her I'd take it to the dean tomorrow, but she won't remember. You can submit the article somewhere else.
Roy tries to put the photograph back together.
Stop. Roy, just... It's done. Stop.
Just because they said no doesn't mean
I don't think
that...
you understand what just happened here. I'm gonna go pack.
You were just doing what you had to do.
And sometimes that shows you exactly what you need.
Kim takes papers out of binders and puts them back where they used to live.
Hey,
Thought you had a matinee today. No liquid lunch?
I knew you were coming by, so congratulations, as they say.
Thanks. Thought I should put some things back where I found them before I leave campus.
Okay, 1, she won't remember. 2, she won't be able to work until she gets another work-study student in September. And 3...
And 3?
she's not really capable of working.
I heard. I'm sorry.
There was an undeniable level of genius in the attempt. According to her browser history, she researched enough to know that it's not your lungs being empty, it's the level of carbon dioxide in your blood that triggers the breathing reflex. So if you hyperventilate first, you pass out underwater before your reflexes get you out of the tub. Except you better be really good at hyperventilating or you'll panic and climb out of the tub and slip on the floor and tragedy will turn into farce.
And the son who moved home to take care of you will come in and do exactly that. You saved her life.
Disappointing her once again. They don't have an explanation for the change in her affect. I thought maybe lack of oxygen. She had some water in her lungs, but they say it's part physical and part psychological. Anyway, we have a healthcare worker now in your old room on the 3rd floor.
What about later?
Later?
You gonna go back to school?
Oh, later. You English majors and your euphemisms. There was this kid at the matinee this morning. When I was leaving, he was with his teacher out near the bus. Shy-looking kid, maybe 15.
Right.
And his teacher says, "Michael wanted to talk to you." He nods at the kid, and the kid says, "I wanted to say thank you. It's Winter's Tale. I'm playing Prince Florizel."
Okay.
I say, "I'm glad you got to see it." And the kid starts to cry. He says, "You went through all that shit with your dad, the king, and the way he treated you and everything, and you just did what you had to do. You didn't let it mess you up. I wanted to thank you for showing me that." We shook hands, and his teacher had this big grin. I started walking to the bar to catch up with everybody, and all of a sudden I'm sitting on a park bench bawling my eyes out. Strangely, I did not want to get shit-faced.
I'm sorry.
No, it is the best thing to happen in a while. So that's what I'm doing for now. Later, I don't know. What are you going to do? Grad school?
I got into Northwestern and Michigan.
Those are good, right?
Northwestern doesn't do grants in the master's program, just loans. Circling the wagons, as Beverly would say.
What about Michigan?
I got enough to make it work.
That's great. Congratulations.
I said no. I turned it down.
I thought that's what you wanted.
I thought so too.
You're a good writer, though. Cambridge University Press said so.
They did say that. But maybe I shouldn't try to spend my life telling an old story some new way. Maybe I need to be telling a new story instead. So...
Brockton? That's a new story?
I'll see. But you can fight so hard to survive the scorpion's nest. You forget there might be other places to be, other mothers to deal with. I got a day job at good old Brockton High. They got a program for teenage mothers, the Access Center, helping them get their shit together or whatever. I'll start paying back the loans so my grams can keep the house. A year or two of that while I scope out grad school writing programs.
Okay. A dream deferred. It's Langston Hughes, by the way.
So we know you're cultured. I can come visit sometime. It's probably good for her to talk about the plays.
That would be nice.
Good morning, Beverly. Is there anything you want to look at this morning?
What's the matter?
Leroy, who is this?
I'm Kim.
She's been working with you on your Margaret book.
Margaret of Anjou. What do you know about Margaret?
I know she was a warrior.
She married a king, but he wasn't good for much. What was your name again?
Kimberly.
She moved back to Anjou. She went back there to smile. Leroy,
Yes, Mom.
should we go to Anjou?
Is that what you would like to do?
Well, how the fuck would I know? I've never been.
That's an excellent point.
Maybe I should go.
Leroy, this young woman and I are going to talk. You can go.
Okay. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
That is my son, Leroy.
Yes.
Every time he leaves the room, I wonder if he's coming back.
He will.
I hope someday he doesn't. Now, here is what I want to ask you. What do you know about Margaret?
I know that she went back to France.
It took her 30 years to figure out England wasn't the place for her.
Maybe it's because she fell in love with the fjords.
Fjords? I'm afraid I don't understand the reference. No, Margaret made a mistake. She should have gone back while she still had a chance to smile. People make mistakes.
They do.
I don't think I'd go to France. My books are here, my research. Someday, you should have a place like this.
You think so?
Everybody should have a place like this. What did you say your name was?
Kimberly.
It's nice to meet you, Kimberly. I'm
Beverly. Dr. Beverly Norden.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I'm Beverly Norden. Now, will you be back tomorrow?
I'm afraid I can't.
I'm sorry to hear that. Why not?
I'll come by soon. But not tomorrow. There's some place I need to be.
Well, of course there is. Of course there is.
End of play.